Fire and Blood Volume 1 has 700 pages. In comparison, the book material Game of Thrones show used was 4,000 pages, with the additional summary from George R. R. Martin about the ending. This prequel will last at least as long as Game of Thrones, and to achieve that, the showrunners will use Fire and Blood Volume 2 material, and as I already said, the main events of it are the Blackfyre Rebellions and the Robert's Rebellion, so this is something you will see on screen in the later seasons of House of the Dragon. The first Blackfyre Rebellion, originally called the Blackfyre Rebellion, was a war fought between the loyalist forces of King Daeron II Targaryen and the rebel forces of his half-brother, Damon I Blackfyre. Damon I Blackfyre, born Daemon Waters, was a bastard son of King Aegon IV Targaryen and Princess Daena Targaryen. Legitimized by his father upon the latter's death, Daemon took the name Blackfyre for himself, after the ancestral Valyrian steel sword of House Targaryen, which his father also bequeathed to him. Despite his bastard status, Daemon believed himself the rightful heir to the Iron Throne, as his father's firstborn and favorite child, and ignited a bloody civil war that divided the Seven Kingdoms against his half-brother Daeron II Targaryen. But let's get a bit back to see how it all started. After King Baelor I Targaryen made peace with Dorne, he returned to King's Landing, and annulled his marriage to his eldest sister Daena. He then locked Daena so she could not tempt the lusts of men. However, Daena escaped her imprisonment on several occasions, and towards the end of her brother's reign became pregnant by her cousin Prince Aegon. In late 170 AC, she gave birth to a bastard son, whom she named Daemon Waters. Baelor I, in response to Daemon's birth, began a 40-day fast, which eventually caused his death in 171 AC. King Aegon IV Targaryen ascended the Iron Throne in 172 AC. In addition to his unacknowledged bastard son by Daena, King Aegon IV Targaryen had by his marriage to his sister Daenerys a trueborn son named Daeron, born in 153 AC, and a daughter Daenerys born in 172 AC. Aegon often clashed with Prince Daeron during his reign, with Daeron opposing the ideas and the corrupt style of rule of his father. Aegon, on the other hand, despised his sister wife Daenerys, and his younger brother Prince Aemon the Dragon Knight, to both of whom Prince Daeron was close. Around the same time, rumors began to circulate, instigated by King Aegon himself, that Daeron was a bastard, born of adultery between his siblings, Daenerys and Aemon. For the first time, although not the last, Aegon threatened to name one of his bastard sons as his heir over Daeron. The rumors about Daeron's parentage forever remained, but despite Aegon's threats and japes, Daeron was never formally disowned. Meanwhile, two factions began to form at court, one supporting the corrupt reign of Aegon IV, and the other supporting Daeron. In 182 AC, Aegon knighted his bastard son Daemon Waters, after the boy won a squire's tourney at the age of 12. Aegon publicly bestowed Blackfyre, one of the Valyrian steel swords of House Targaryen, on Daemon as well, finally acknowledging him. There were some who felt that the sword symbolized the monarchy, as it had been the sword of King Aegon I Targaryen the Conqueror, and had been passed on from king to king ever since. Aegon's public gift of the sword eventually started the talk that Daemon should be a king. Following the acquisition of the sword, Daemon took the name Blackfyre for himself. In early 184 AC, King Aegon IV Targaryen legitimized all of his bastards on his deathbed. Prince Daeron ascended the throne as King Daeron II Targaryen, and did all he could to keep the nobly born great bastards close. While Daeron had chosen to be crowned with his father's crown, rumors about his legitimacy remained. Daeron was not a warrior, and while Prince Baelor, Daeron's eldest son by his Dornish wife, was all that could be desired in a warrior, Baelor had the looks of a mortal, and not like Damon Blackfyre of a Targaryen. Nobles and knights from the Dornish marches began to mistrust both Daeron and Baelor. These same people looked at Damon Blackfyre, the bastard son of King Aegon IV Targaryen, and his cousin Princess Daena Targaryen, and saw in him a warrior, grown tall and powerful, with the hallmarks of old Valyria, deep purple eyes, silver gold hair down to his shoulders, who was described as having had an almost inhumane beauty, being half a god among mortal men. Daemon had come to resemble Aegon the Conqueror in appearance according to his supporters. His armor was ornate and costly, all black and red plate, and his war helm was distinctive, with bat-like steel dragon wings on the sides. Damon matured into a man of considerable charm and strength, mastering all weapons of the battlefield, but with a sword Blackfyre in hand he was said to fight like the warrior himself. He won friends easily and women were drawn to him. Married to Rohan of Tyrosh in 184 AC, his twin sons Aegon and Aemon were born later that same year. 6 other sons and at least 2 daughters followed during the years to come. Daemon's supporters claimed that Daemon had desired his half-sister, Princess Daenerys, and the singers claimed that she loved him as well. It's said that Aegon, who had seen more profit in the match with Tyrosh, had promised Daemon that he could have more than one bride. Daeron, however, did not agree. The Dornish concessions and influence, the sudden change of Dornish enemies to Dornish allies, Daeron's rumored illegitimacy, and Aegon IV's public gift of the Sword of Kings to Daemon, all were part of the seeds from which the first Blackfyre Rebellion grew. Still, it took many years for the actual rebellion to begin. There was no final insult that resulted in declaration of Daemon's claim. Additionally, he had counselors who urged him to rebel, and many famous warriors who disagreed with the peace with Dorne sought him out. The first Blackfyre Rebellion finally broke out in 196 AC. It lasted almost 1 year and divided the Seven Kingdoms. Daemon's decision to claim the throne had been made rashly, and word soon reached Daeron's court that Daemon meant to declare within a month. It's been suggested by Archmaester Mirion that Brynden Rivers, another one of Aegon IV's bastard sons, who later went on to become the Three-Eyed Raven and who we met 100 years later in Game of Thrones, was involved in the news reaching Daeron. The Kingsguard was sent to arrest Daemon, but with the aid of Master-at-Arms of the Red Keep, Daemon managed to escape imprisonment. Daemon reversed the colors of House Targaryen, taking for his own sigil a black dragon on a red field, which led to his nickname, the Black Dragon, with Daeron becoming known as the Red Dragon, and began to mint his own coinage. Over the course of the war, battles were fought between the rebels and loyalists, in amongst other places the Vale, the Westerlands, the Riverlands and the Reach. Half the realm declared for Daemon. Sir Quentyn Ball attacked the Westerlands, killing Lord Lefford at the gates of Lannisport, and then defeating Lord Daemon Lannister in turn. Lord Leo Tyrell participated in the first Blackfyre Rebellion as well, fighting on behalf of House Targaryen. He won notable victories in the Reach against Damon Blackfyre's supporters. A key general, Fireball, was slain on the eve of the Battle of the Redgrass Field by a common archer. The final conflict of the first Blackfyre Rebellion was the Battle of the Redgrass Field, in late 196 AC. Lord Leo Tyrell's forces could not gather quickly enough to arrive in time for the battle. House Arryn did participate, as Lord Donal Arryn led the vanguard of the Targaryen forces. However, Damon Blackfyre shattered his lines, leaving the loyalists in peril, until Sir Gawain Corbray of the Kingsguard arrived with reinforcements. Sir Gawain Corbray and Damon Blackfyre came face to face during the battle. Their epic duel, in which Damon wielded the Valyrian steel sword Blackfyre and Gawain the Valyrian steel sword Lady Forlorn, is said to have lasted nearly an hour, before Damon gained the upper hand. Corbray was wounded, but Damon dismounted, preventing Corbray from being trampled, and commanding that he was taken off the field. While Damon was doing this honorable deed, his half-brother Brynden Rivers with his archers, the Raven's Teeth, had captured and assumed a position atop the Weeping Ridge, which overlooked the battlefield and allowed them to rain arrows down among Damon and his commanders. Daemon's heir Aegon died first, followed by Daemon himself. When Daemon's second son Aegon's twin brother Aemon took up Blackfyre, he was slain as well. With Daemon dead, the rebels began to rout. Aegon Rivers claimed Blackfyre and rallied the rebels by leading a charge against the Raven's Teeth, but was eventually forced to flee when Prince Baelor arrived with a host of Dornish spearmen and Stormlanders, while his younger brother Prince Maekor rallied what remained of the van. As such, Baelor crushed the rebel army against Maekor's shield wall, the move later called the Hammer and the Anvil. 10,000 men died, and many more were maimed and wounded. The first Blackfyre Rebellion left its mark upon Westeros for years to come. Asking a man whether he had fought for the Black Dragon or the Red was considered a dangerous question. Aegon Rivers was able to recover the sword Blackfyre from the battlefield and escape to the Free Cities, together with Daemon's widow and remaining children, eventually ending up in Tyrosh. In exile, Daemon's descendants continued their struggle for the Iron Throne, resulting in 4 more rebellions: 2nd, 3rd and 4th Blackfyre Rebellion, and the War of the 9 Penny Kings. These attempts led to the arrest of Daemon's 2nd son Daemon, and the deaths of his 3rd and 5th son, Aegon and Aenys, as well as the death of a grandson, also named Daemon. Daemon's last male descendant Maelys was slain during the War of the 9 Penny Kings by Ser Barristan Selmy, ending the Blackfyre threat. That's the story of the Blackfyre Rebellion. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.